Hello and welcome. My name's Joe Hendry and we need to talk about what happened last Saturday. Last Saturday, CM Punk finally made his MMA debut at UFC 203. And let's be honest, it didn't go well. Unfortunately for CM Punk, he was defeated in the very first round by Gall via submission. He didn't manage to land any significant strikes or amount any significant offense, so it was a disappointing day for CM Punk. But that being said, the entire process has been this emotional journey that we've all been invested in, and there's been several points that we feel need to be made about things that have happened before, during and after the fight that you professional wrestling fans will be interested in. As we say, this is something that we usually cover in more detail over at What Culture MMA, which you should subscribe to right now. We'd love to have you, but we feel this one will be of particular interest to you. So, without further ado, here are the 10 things we learned from CM Punk's MMA debut. Number 1. CM Punk's next fight probably won't be in the UFC. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, the fight didn't go well for CM Punk, which led to the boss of the UFC, Dana White, saying that CM Punk's next fight probably shouldn't be in the UFC. So this led to speculation whether CM Punk is going to be cut from his multi-fight contract from the UFC, but it's very interesting that he used the word probably, which leads us to our next point, which will give you some explanation as to why he chose that word. Number 2, CM Punk drew huge money for the UFC. Pro wrestling and MMA journalist Dave Meltzer said that he felt that this type of event without the presence of Punk would be looking to draw generously 300,000 pay-per-view buys, but with Punk's inclusion, estimates are now coming out at 650,000 pay-per-view buys. So you can see that CM Punk has effectively doubled the pay-per-view revenue for the UFC. And this was also reflected in the earnings. The victor, Gall, walked away with $30,000, whereas CM Punk managed to earn himself a flat $500,000 fee for taking the fight. This figure also doesn't include any undisclosed bonuses, the merchandise royalties from Reebok, or any pay-per-view points that Punk would likely have had written into his deal. So we're not sure exactly what CM Punk earned, but it was a lot of money. So basically, all in all, despite what happened, this was a great day for business, and win, lose or draw, people wanted to see this fight and they were willing to pay for it, which is probably why Dana White said his next fight probably wouldn't be in the UFC. So let's not count that out just yet. Number 3, the Cleveland curse continues. Now, before the fight, CM Punk pointed out that this was the arena that not only was his originally scheduled debut cancelled, it was also the arena where he decided to leave WWE. Now, unfortunately, you also have to add to that his loss last week at UFC 203. Number 4, the pro wrestling community was supportive of CM Punk. That's right, despite the fact that CM Punk has been out of the professional wrestling business for some time, it was great to see that professional wrestlers came out in support of CM Punk. There were one or two here or there that were negative, but overall, the reception was positive for him and his efforts. CM Punk received high praise for his efforts and bravery from the likes of Hulk Hogan, Mick Foley, Batista, Cody Rhodes, and especially the Iron Sheik, which was delivered via Twitter in full capital letters. Number 5, the MMA community were not as supportive. Whilst he did receive support from the likes of Daniel Cormier, who's a professional wrestling fan, and even surprisingly Conor McGregor, who in fairness tipped the bravery that it took for CM Punk to get in and fight in the first place, the overall feeling within the MMA community was anger towards the amount of money that CM Punk was able to make when he's only just getting into the sport compared to certain champions and people who had dedicated their entire lives. Number 6, CM Punk will continue. Whilst he'll have to take time out to heal those injuries that he received in his MMA debut, at the post-fight press conference, CM Punk made it clear that he was not done with MMA and he wanted to improve and go back and give it another shot. And that's the tenacity that we know and love from CM Punk. He said that if it was up to him, he'd be back in the gym on Monday, but knows that he'll have to take some time to rest. So I'm excited to see what happens next for CM Punk in his MMA career. Number 7, Gall means business. At only 24 years old and in his third professional fight, Gall found himself in a featured bout in a UFC card. But he managed to handle all the pressure, all the media, and still go in and execute his game plan to perfection, dominating both wrestling and jiu-jitsu and finishing the fight quickly. Number 8, CM Punk made the walk. Many people speculated that this fight would never happen, that CM Punk couldn't make the weight cut, that for some reason he would never make his MMA debut. But he proved those people wrong, and he made his way to the octagon, he got in the cage, and he tested himself in the UFC. And whilst it didn't go to plan and it was a bad day at the office, he had the courage to do it. Number 9, Brock Lesnar's MMA career is even more impressive. If you think about what happened with CM Punk's MMA debut, it showed what happens when someone wants to cross over into mixed martial arts. Now, we know that Brock Lesnar had a fantastic amateur wrestling background, but to be fair, MMA is a whole different game. That aside, Brock Lesnar managed to go in and become the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. And last Saturday showed how difficult it is to even compete in the UFC. So in my mind, what happened last Saturday puts Brock Lesnar's achievements truly into context, showing how much of a destroyer he is, both in the professional wrestling ring and also in the cage. Number 10, CM Punk is still a huge star. Despite what happened in the actual fight itself, if you look at the things that happened around it, the entrance that he made with his living colour music, the amazing promo that he cut after the fight had happened, no matter what happens, no matter what the outcome, people are invested in everything that CM Punk did. From the event, but also to the documentaries that followed him to the event. It's clear that no matter what happens, the world will be watching and CM Punk is still a star. And here at What Culture, we look forward to seeing what happens next in the career of CM Punk. Thanks for watching. I've been Joe Hendry. You can follow me at Joe S. Hendry on Twitter, but most importantly, please do subscribe to What Culture MMA. We would love to have you there, and I shall see you next time.
This Saturday on an all-new episode of WCPW Loaded, making his WCPW debut and first televised appearance since leaving the WWE, the two-time WWE champion, Alberto El Patron. All this and more Saturday, 8 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern, only on What Culture Wrestling.